Hello everybody, Matteo here again and welcome you to the next video of the Tamiya Lancia 037 build. The rear and front gearbox and suspension are finished and the next steps are the installation of the electronics and completion of the chassis. Step 20 is preparing the electronics, radio, receiver ESC and installation of the servo horn and servo saver. As first, connecting all cables and turn on the transmitter and ESC to check all the functions works. And yes, everything looks good and works well. So we can go ahead and install the servo saver. As first, screw on the ball head on the servo arm. Then put all the parts together corresponding to the servo you use. This image in the manual shows the parts and screws for the different types of servos. Now the servo horn is installed and I use the subtrim function on my transmitter to set the horn on the correct angle. It should be 90 degrees to the servo. Step 21 is the installation of the servo on the chassis. As first, screw on the holders on each side. Then put the servo on place and screw it on from underneath. Now screw on this plate to build the battery compartment and make a holder for the electronics. Step 22 is the installation of the RC equipment. For this I use the double-sided tape included in the kit and put the parts on place. Now I can install the on-off switch and screw it on. So the RC equipment is installed. Step 23 is preparing the steering rods. As first, screw on the ball heads on the steering arms. Then build the rods. Be sure to use the correct rod ends on the corresponding shaft. The correct length is shown in the manual. Step 24 is the build of the complete steering linkage. Put together all the parts and press on the rod ends on the ball connectors. This picture shows how it should be. Step 25 is installing the steering linkage on the chassis. And the steering linkage is installed. On step 26 we can connect the rear gearbox and suspension to the chassis. Put it on place and screw it on with 4 screws. Now I can connect the motor cables. Yellow with yellow and blue with green. The arrange cable is no needed, it is only for brushless motors. Here you can see the rear parts installed. Step 27 is the installation of the front gearbox and suspension and drive shaft. After applying of a bit grease, I can insert the drive shaft and connect the front gearbox and suspension. Here is not so much place between the ESC and the shaft. Maybe you have to replace the electronics again to make it work properly without contact. Now I can connect the steering arms to the uprights. Step 28 is installing the front bumper. But I'll wait with this. In my opinion it's too big and looking not so good with the nice Lancia body. I'll check this later after finishing the body. But I have to screw on 2 more screws from underneath to fix the front unit on the chassis. And here it is, the chassis finished. I used a few cable ties to arrange the cables. Step 29 is assembling the wheels. As first, glue together the inner foams and form it to a ring. For this I use super glue. Then insert the foams in the tires. And then pull the tires over the wheels. Step 30 is the installation of the body holders and tires in front. Preparing the holders with a body pin and a rubber ring. And screw it on the chassis. Now I install the wheel adapters and the wheels. Step 31 is the same at the rear. Cutting a 5mm piece of this rubber tube and put the rear body holders together. Screw on the holder on the chassis. There is a small bumper to screw on from the rear. And installing the rear wheels. To avoid the contact of the motor cables to the tires, I bent a bit the cable flap on the motor. Step 32 is the installation of the battery and checking the functions. Steering works well. motor, ESC and drivetrain also. Okay, the chassis is finished. Let's do a preview with the body on it. So this is it for the moment. The next steps are assembling and the paint job of the body. This video will follow soon. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you not already have. Thanks for watching and see you soon.